After a Friday night spent fighting traffic, nothing like a smooth sail up the FDR and across the Brooklyn Bridge on a Saturday morning, where all roads lead to Citi Field. At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball today. The Mets play the Houston Astros. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the middle game of their weekend series against the Astros. The Mets have lost 6 straight. But there was a glimmer of hope last night, a bright spot, a historic moment as David Wright hit his 200th career home run. He had waited almost a month for it, but he finally got that milestone hit.
Well, he got a fastball up out over the plate and down the right field line, which we've seen David do over the years, and became the third Met player to hit 200 home runs on this 50th season. It was almost bittersweet. It's been such a frustrating season. I think about David in his career coming up, in 2004? Almost instantly thrust into 2006 team, one pitch away from a World Series, competing the next 3 years. Early in his career, getting a smell of the roses, and now all of a sudden, the last 3-4 years, non-contending teams. It takes its toll, particularly when you're in the middle of your career. But he keeps on plugging out there, and it was a good thing to see yesterday him getting his 200th hit.
And with this slump that the Mets are going through right now offensively, there's so much pressure on David right now every at bat.
Well, hasn't got a lot of help in the lineup, and it's affected his second half. His numbers are stark. His first half was just off the charts. I didn't expect him to keep that up, but he's dropped off significantly in the second half. I think he's felt too much pressure to carry the whole burden of the offense for this team.
Well, the starting pitching has been terrific for the Mets over these 7 games when they've scored 2 runs or less. R.A. Dickey's been part of that. No decision his last time out against the Rockies.
Well, he threw a terrific game against the Rockies, and as far as I'm concerned, he's got 5 wins for 20. I would give him every opportunity. I know Terry pulled him out early in the game, tried to get a run, pinch hit for him in a tie ball game. You know what? I'd leave him in the game if he's down a run late and give him a chance to win his 20 ball games.
For Houston, they'll go to the minor leagues and bring up lefty Fernando Abad. He's made a lot of relief outings, but his first big league start.
Well, he's had 30 relief appearances in the season, got sent down to start. Well, I guess if you're going to bring back Roger Clemens to start in September in Houston, you're going to send someone like him down because you're short on starting pitching. Well, this is his first start. He's had 7 appearances against the Mets, all in relief.
Abad, who is mostly a lefty specialist, faces a righty-laden lineup today. Dickey against Abad. Mets looking to snap their losing streak. All the action on Pix 11. Chevy has 10 models offering an EPA estimated 30 highway miles per gallon or better. By Skechers, footwear for men, women, and kids. Shop Skechers.com. By Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. By the Volkswagen Autobahn for All event, visit VWDealer.com. And by Time Warner Cable, enjoy all the things you love better, all from Time Warner Cable. Run the bases at Citi Field tomorrow following the afternoon game against the Astros with the Mr. Met Dash for all kids 12 and under, presented by Nintendo World Store. For tickets, visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Around the Majors brought to you by Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet? It's almost a done deal. The Red Sox going to send Josh Beckett and Adrian Gonzalez and Carl Crawford and Nick Punto to the Dodgers, mostly for prospects, shedding themselves of about $275 million worth of payroll. Last night, Adrian Beltre hit for the cycle for the second time in his career as the Rangers beat the Twins 8-0. And Chris Davis hit 3 home runs for the Orioles as they beat the Blue Jays 6-4. Baltimore tied with Oakland for the second wild card in the American League. R.A. Dickey takes another shot at win number 16 on Mike Piazza bobblehead day at Citi Field. First pitch coming right up. .com.
Well, ready for liftoff? Okay. He's great in day games. Dickey, he's been pretty good all year, folks. So 15-4. Let's get him some runs and get him his 16th victory. And the first start for Abad, we'll get on him early. He's a left-hander. A lot of right-handers in the lineup jump on him. He has trouble with them. And let's get rid of this, back since 62, all this Astros, a Colt 45, just giving Mets trouble. Let's get a W.
Very fond of the NASA theme in honor of the Astros, the only team the Mets have played this year and not beaten. Now, Terry Collins talking to Ike Davis, who's not in the lineup today, as they get set to take on the Astros, who will be leaving the National League after this season and moving over to the American League, which will seem awfully strange. It means the Mets will play the Astros about once every 5 years. Well, Terry's had to do a lot of this lately. A lot of cajoling, a lot of reassuring, a lot of just trying to push this team in the right direction. And he's a guy who is very much in conversation with his players day by day. And we've seen a lot of this lately. Some of it is lighthearted. Some of it is to the point. But this is when a manager really earns his stripes.
And this is when the players really got to dig deep, too, Gary. This is when, when things are going good, it's easy to be on top of the world and have a smile on your face. When things are going bad, and as they are with the Mets right now, and certainly with that club over there in the third base dugout, this is when you've really got to dig deep and run out to your position. And when you make it out, hustle back in the dugout. It's very critical.
Well, Tony DeFrancesco got his first win as a big league skipper last night. Here's his starting lineup, brought to you by Lexus and the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. He had a lot of right-handed bats in there last night. He'll go with mostly lefties today, so a start for Fernando Martinez and Scott Moore and Jason Castro and Brian Bogusevic, all of whom sat last night. Tony D, by the way, had about 50 family and friends in his office, which is not a very big office, let me tell you, last night. They doused him with champagne. They saved the lineup card for him. It was quite a scene last night after the game as Tony DeFrancesco, who managed in the minor leagues for 19 years, got himself his first big league win.
And let me tell you something, that manager's office is a little bit larger than our booth. So R.A. Dickey, there's his numbers for the year, and you can see the hits to innings pitched are fabulous. The walks, well, we've talked ad nauseum about that. So rare for a knuckleballer to throw strikes as R.A. does, and so rare for a knuckleballer to hold runners on well, which R.A. does. And we'll take a look at the defense, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And the 8th start for Turner. He's going to get some playing time. Cedeno starts at second. He's been doing a good job against the left-handers. That's surprising to see Baxter in there, and Tolley. I think Tolley's behind the plate because Shopak not sure about his ability to catch the knuckleball. And Bay gets a start out in left field.
Umpire behind the plate, always critical with Dickey on the mound. Chad Fairchild, relatively young umpire, calling the balls and strikes. David Rackley, a rookie, working at first. Tom Hallion is the crew chief. He's at second. And Brian O'Nora, who had the plate last night, is the umpire at third. It was a late night for the folks working in the ballpark last night. You had the ball game and then a relatively long concert last night.
It was an hour and a half.
Reggae night.
Right, an hour and a half.
Sergio Vargas and his group. The headliners last night.
That means I got home before the concert was out. I got home in an hour and 10 minutes.
We should get you the CD. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Lexus. The Golden Opportunity Sales Event is here.
All right, play ball.
The Astros All-Star Jose Altuve will lead things off on a cloudy Saturday afternoon. Temperature in the mid-80s. Perfect day for a knuckleball pitcher with just a little light breeze blowing. As long as the rain stays away, R.A. has not had much of a problem with weather conditions this year. That one rainy day in Atlanta really did him in. That was back in April. And he has been sailing ever since. His first pitch of the afternoon is a floater that comes up and in to Altuve for ball one. Altuve right now 10th in the National League in batting at .302. Third in the league with 45 multi-hit games. His power is a little down as the season goes along, but his batting average has stayed up. And he pops up the fastball into shallow left field. Who's going to get it? It is Tejada who takes charge, and that's the first out of the game. I'm not sure Ruben saw that ball at first, but managed to locate it for the first out.
Well, you remember on old Shea Stadium, this ballpark is all configured a little bit shifted to the left, the stadium, the new City Field. Tejada did get a little bad break. It looks like he did lose it. How about that?
He looked out at Bay at first thinking that ball was hit deeper than it was, but ultimately Ruben made the play. So 1 out and nobody on. Now the former Met Fernando Martinez, and he takes a knuckleball for a strike. Martinez pinch hit last night and struck out. 45 at bats with the Astros since being called up. And he grounds one to short. Another chance for Tejada. And a close play at first base. Martinez out by a stride. Dickey has the first 2 outs.
Well, we're getting to that point in the season now, which is we're almost, less than a week in August, where that sun really plays havoc. That beginning of the late summer sun for the center fielders. I know the stadium here has been kind of configured a little bit different. It's kind of moved a little bit to the left. It's not as difficult as it was at Shea Stadium late in the season.
More of a problem for the right fielder in this ballpark than for the center fielder. Of course, the clouds make it a little easier today. Here's Brett Wallace, the first baseman, 1 for 4 last night, and he takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. So Dickey has thrown fastballs 2 of his first 5 pitches already. Scott Moore, the third baseman, hitting cleanup this afternoon. And R.A. throws that knuckleball that just misses, a ball and a strike. R.A. faced the Astros in Houston, got locked up in a pitcher's duel the last day of April against Bud Norris. Dickey cracked in the 6th, gave up 3 runs. Mets got him off the hook. Wallace hits it out to left, and on comes Bay to make the grab. A 7-pitch first inning for R.A. Dickey as he sets the Astros down 1-2-3. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. Opportunity sales event. Andres Torres, who was supposed to be the leadoff hitter on this team, lost that job early in the season. Gets it back today. Ruben Tejada slides into the 2-hole. Justin Turner gets another start today at first base. And Ronnie Cedeno, who hits lefties very well, plays second against Fernando Abad, the 26-year-old making his first big league start.
Well, we told you they sent him down to get some starts in, and he went down, I think it's Round Rock, their Double-A team, not sure, and posted in 13 games. Oak City, excuse me. And again, we'll give you the Astro defense. It's brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. We all know that. So the 12th start in the season for Fernando Martinez, what they used to call him when he first came up, F-Mart.
Some people still do. Andres Torres leads off. Torres 1 for 3 last night. Has swung the bat tremendously from this side of the plate all year. And we can't say this enough. As a right-hand batter, Torres' on-base percentage is .408. If you could duplicate that from both sides of the plate, he'd be an all-star. And the breaking ball from Abad sits up and away 2-1. Torres' on-base percentage from the left side, though, is a paltry .289. So a huge difference this year, which is stunning when you consider that for his career, Torres has been a better left-hand hitter, not this year. And Abad unable to throw that breaking ball anywhere near the plate, and he falls behind 3-1.
Going to get on top of that curveball, young man.
Abad has faced the Mets 7 times in his career, all in relief, 4 2/3 innings, no runs allowed. Made 3 starts down in the minor leagues. The last one was on Sunday. He went 5 1/3, the furthest he's gone. And he threw 87 pitches in that game. So the Astros are hoping to get 5 innings out of Abad today. He's taking the place in the rotation of Armando Galarraga. He of the imperfect game with the Tigers a few years back. He went 0-4 and they got rid of him.
Cute.
And with a good seat. Torres pops one foul, and that'll go out of play.
Well, we know the Mets have been struggling offensively as a unit. Only 6 runs in the 5 games of this homestand, this winless homestand.
7 straight games they've scored 2 runs or less. The last time they had a longer streak than that was 1967. It's a long time ago. And back in the days when the Mets would routinely lose 95, 100 games a year. A cue shot toward first, a foul ball, as Torres hit that right down off the end of the bat. And you see the numbers over those last 7 games. Only 10 runs total in those 7 games. And the crime of it is, in those 7 games, the Mets starting pitchers have an ERA of 2.33. So they have been in position every day. It has seemed that in every one of these games, the Mets have had, the tying run at the plate in the 9th inning. But they've squandered their opportunities. Torres hits it to center field. Barnes comes on and plays it on the hop. And Torres has a leadoff hit. So Andres continues to swing the bat well right-handed. And the Mets get the leadoff man on for Ruben Tejada.
Inside fastball. Got in on him a little bit, but not enough. He came over here. Torres, he was a better career-wise, had better numbers from the left side of the plate.
Here's Tejada, who went 0 for 4 last night. By the way, we invoked the 67 Mets, last team to have a longer streak of scoring 2 runs or less. They were led in hitting that year by Tommy Davis, who was a few years beyond his batting championship days with the Dodgers. Tommy hit .302 that year. The Mets were led in home runs that season, 1967, by their second baseman, Jerry Buchek.
Really?
Who had 14 home runs.
I didn't know Buchek had power.
Well, he
did. A little bit.
He had 14. That led the team. Eddie Kranepool had 10 that year. Eddie, by that time, was in his 6th season. He was 22 years old.
Building that pension.
Well, Chris Kranepool signed out of Monroe High School in the Bronx in 1962 as a 17-year-old and did get a few games in the big leagues that year.
That's Seaver's first year?
67. He was a rookie, won Rookie of the Year, 16 games.
Did they lose 100 games that year?
What was their final record?
I don't think
they
did.
were 61 and 101.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would have been the last year they lost 100 Wagos.
Right. Well,
they would have broke the string
until 1993.
Yeah, then they broke the string.
Well, they actually lost 110 or more 3 of their first 5 years, including that 120 loss season the first year.
What year was Gill's first year manager?
68. 67 would have been Wes Western.
The Wes Western, when I was a kid, was the San Francisco Giant coach, and I'm not sure if he managed the Giants. I grew up with Alvin Dark. I remembered Alvin Dark as a Giants manager. Herman Franks.
1-0 to Tejada. And Ruben takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. Ruben hitting at .304 for the year. Well, and again, you have a good hit and run combination here.
Yep.
Mets have not been playing a lot of hit and run.
And Tejada has just, he's holding his own, but he's a little bit of a lull right now.
And Abad still having trouble throwing that curveball for strikes, and it's 2-1. Well, a little bit of a lull, I think, covers a lot of ground with this team right now.
Yes. I think you're right. He's hitting right now. Ruben's 4 for 20 on the homestand.
Torres with 10 steals on the year. He's been caught 5 times. Being held on there by Brett Wallace. Tony DeFrancesco got the job as skipper with the Astros last week as the interim as part of his title, replacing Brad Mills, who was let go. And Tejada fouls off the fastball, and it's 2-2. The Astros are going through a complete remake of their organization. They have a new owner in Jim Crane.
A new league.
New general manager in Jeff Luhnow. They're going to the American League next year. They're going to have a new color scheme next year. They're getting rid of the red and going to predominantly orange and dark blue. They are even talking about changing some of the quirks in their ballpark, maybe even flattening Towles Hill in center field. At the feet of Tejada, gets away from Castro, and Torres takes advantage by going to second.
Well, how are they going to rule that? I think this should be a pass ball because there was not a whole lot of footwork done by the catcher here. That's a pass ball. That just clank.
So Jason Castro's had all sorts of knee problems the last couple of years, unable to snag that, and Torres goes to second. So now a 3-2 count at Tejada, with Torres on second with a single and moving up on a pass ball. Second straight full count for Abad, and he walks Tejada, and the Mets have 2 men on for David Wright. So the Mets, who have been so stymied trying to get the big hit, have a couple of men on for their best hitter in the opening inning. Mets since the 1st of August are hitting .166 with runners in scoring position. David last night hit that milestone home run, and we give a lot of face time to the young man who caught the ball, and David said after the game that the negotiations were easy. I don't know what that means in terms of what he had to give up.
Made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
David at .319 on the year, 5th in the National League. And Abad gets it over for a strike. By the way, I misspoke. Jerry Buchek did not lead the 67 Mets in home runs. Tommy Davis did. He had 16. Buchek was second.
What did Tommy hit that year?
302.
302. And that's when he had the bad knees too. He was on the backside of his career.
Well, remember in '65 he missed the whole year when he broke his ankle with the Dodgers. 0-2 now to Wright. It was the year the Dodgers would win every game 1-0. Wound up going all the way. Here you see your Mets all-time home run leaders, with Wright now at an even 200. That's 100 at home, 70 at Shea, 30 here, and 100 on the road. Scott Hairston hitting cleanup. He's waiting on deck. Abad still looking for his first out. Ahead on Wright, 0-2. And David goes down on the off-speed pitch. So there's the first out as Abad gets Wright on strikes.
Chased a bad one here. It's a curveball, and not a good one. He just went after it. Sometimes I think David Bobby was looking for it, and you look for a curveball and you get it, you get a little bit over anxious.
So 1 away, runner still at first and second, and here's Hairston. Hairston 0 for 2 last night, coming off the bench. Scott with 14 home runs this year, 9 of them against left-handers, although it's been a while since he's hit one against the lefty. And he takes it wide from Abad, ball 1.
I see where they got the World's Championship, the 2 World Championship pennants, flags up on the foul pole there next to the American flag and on the right field line. Flapping nicely in the wind. The westerly breeze today. That's the championship teams, 73 and 2000 National League champions. Very nice.
Abad keeping it away from Hairston, and it's 2-0. Those are further down the right field line in foul territory. The World Championship banners you refer to are in fair territory.
I've been here all year and I forget that they're there.
Well, when the wind's not blowing, it's hard to see them.
Yes.
Hairston hits one in the air to left field. Fernando Martinez with the glasses on, tracking it and grabbing it. 2 out. So the Mets had the first 2 men on, now in danger of wasting a good first inning opportunity. And so it has gone. Justin Turner will try and make it go the other way. Justin getting his second straight start. That's been a rarity this year. He's had a dearth of playing time, only 136 at bats this season. Went 1 for 3 last night, also got hit by a pitch. Torres at second, Tejada at first with 2 out, and as was the case last year, Turner's been the best on the ball club with runners in scoring position this year. 367 in RBI situations. Just got that knack. Sabermetrically inclined folks will tell you there's no such thing. Ball 1 to Turner. Ronnie Cedeno waits on deck. Turner getting the start at first base today with Ike Davis sitting. Let's see what he's done the last 2 years in runners in scoring position spots. And the curveball from Abad in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Problem for Justin this year is that most of his starts have come against left-hand pitching, and he's hitting just .225 against lefties.
There's another cross. Jewelry around the net as a necklace on the pitcher. I just think if you're going to have a rule, enforce it. And as I said, Gary, with you, a hitter, you can say, hey, that's a distraction. And the umpire would, I would think, you complain, it has to go out there and have the pitcher take it off. I mean, that's just flapping around. Looks like it's broke.
Bott ahead 1-2 and comes inside, and Turner gets hit again. Well, he's like a magnet, isn't he?
Well, he didn't have much of an attempt to get out of the way of that. He did turn his back, so.
Well, that'll load the bases for Ronnie Cedeno. This one not quite as painful as yesterday.
Oh, good spot. Nice and cushiony. Is that a word?
Sure. It is now. Squeezably soft. Is that what you were going for?
Mr. Whipple.
Torres at third. Tejada at second. Turner at first with 2 down. And now Cedeno is at .338 against left-handers this year. .285 overall. He's had an attractive offensive season, but he grounds the first pitch to short. Double clutch, but the toss made by Green in time, and the Mets waste a bases loaded opportunity in the first inning. No score after 1. New low pricing, and see every remaining Mets out of market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Well, R.A. Dickey unfulfilled as the Mets left the bases loaded in the bottom of the first. Scott Moore leads off in the top of the second and takes a knuckleball for ball 1. Moore, 0 for his last 15, has been playing a lot of third base lately for the Astros. Former #1 pick, 8th overall by the Tigers back in 2002. He's had some big league time with the Cubs and the Orioles, but it just has never panned out for him. Now 28 years old. And Dickey gets ahead of him 1-2. Scott Moore, Tyler Green, Jason Castro. It's 3 straight hitters who were all first-round picks in this Astros batting order. And then they have Brian Bogusevic hitting 8th. He was also a first-round pick. Fly ball out to right field, and Hairston's right there. And makes the grab one away. So Dickey's retired the first 4. 1 out and nobody on. Tyler Green coming up. Green picked up from the Cardinals. One-time first-round pick by St. Louis.
He hit a bomb last night off of Jonathan Neese that drove in the second run of this game. I believe it was left center field.
Hit it off the facing of the second deck in left. And Green takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. Green with 7 home runs on the year. He's hit 3 of them in just 12 games since joining the Astros. And asking for time.
Dickey trying to work fast. RA likes to work fast.
Good knuckleball. Well, it's smart as a hitter if the pitcher's trying to work at that
you
pace.
can't let a pitcher quick pitch you. And there's the grip. A little bit too much rotation. It broke a little bit down late.
And losing the bat is Green as he strikes out. The ball sailing into the stands. Everybody appears to be okay there.
Wow.
First strikeout of the day for Dickey in emphatic fashion. And they will execute a bat trade and get that young man a different bat, although this one didn't work very well for Green.
That was a good one. You saw the bottom drop out of that. Good cover. Oh, I tell you what, look out in the on-deck circle. That would have went over the head of Jason Castro. Jeez.
Well, Castro lives to tell about it. Hitting a .257 for the year and takes ball 1. Shattered the glass there.
That bat'll hurt you. It's like a club.
Need that plexiglass like they use in for the hockey boards.
It's like Bam Bam.
And now Dickey falls behind on Castro 3-0. Beautiful patterns like snowflakes.
They're going to have to take that down
quickly before somebody gets hurt. And the 3-0 fastball in for a strike to Castro, who got back a couple of weeks ago from another stint on the disabled list. Brandon Barnes on deck. Castro missed all of last year with a knee injury, and that knee acted up again. Another fastball, and he pops this one up into shallow left. Easy for Jason Bay, and the side retired. So Dickey has set down the first 6. Mets will come up in the bottom of the second looking for a shattering experience. Required 25 pitches to get through the first inning. Worked of a jam. And so he'll face the lower third of the Mets order in the home second. Jason Bay, Josh Thole, and R.A. Dickey. It was like groundhog inning in that first inning. That's leaving 3 men on. going 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Jason Bay hitless in his last 12 at bats and takes off the plate for ball 1. Bay continues to get starts against left-hand pitching, but other than that, pretty much a forgotten man. Josh Thole starting against a lefty. That's a rarity these days. And Bay hits one in the air to left field, and Fernando Martinez drifts back to the 1 away. Kevin Burkhardt is off, and we're very pleased to have Tiffany Simons filling in as our sideline reporter. What do you got, Tiffany?
Hi, guys. Thanks for welcoming me back. You know, before the game started, the Astros manager said that Fernando Abad is the right guy for this team right now. He said, you know, I expect Abad to probably lean on the catcher a little bit more in this particular instance, but he's had 30 relief appearances. He's also seen the Mets a couple of times. And the other thing that he mentioned, he said Abad has spent a lot of time in the Dominican League, and Tony has been down there, and he said, for them, it's like the World Series every day down there. This guy might be having his first major league start, but he is certainly ready for it. Gary.
Josh Thole floats one down the left field line, foul. Well, the question is how far Abad can go into the game. He's never thrown more than 2 innings in a major league game. Well, got stretched out a little bit in the minor league.
I would think they'd have him on a strict pitch count, hoping to get 5 out of him. We'll see.
Well, with the trade of Wandy Rodriguez, it certainly opened up space in that Astros rotation. As Thole lines one in the shortstop, Green snow cones it for the second out. Well, that's the hardest Josh has hit a ball in a while. But now 0 for his last 18.
Well, a lot of times when you're struggling, it's good to face a left-hander. If you're a left-hand hitter, you stay in more. And you can't buy a break.
Just nice to see Josh getting back to his approach. I mean, that's when he's going well. That's where he's hitting the ball. Here's Dickey, who has 9 hits this year, and he takes a fastball for a strike. And Dickey hits it out to center, and Barnes right there to play it. And so Abad has a much easier second inning as he sets the Mets down 1-2-3 on 7 pitches. Dickey back to the mound for the third, no score. Thrown only 19 pitches to get through the first 6 batters, and he'll take on the lower third of the Astros order in the third. Well, the report out of Los Angeles is that it is a done deal now between the Red Sox and the Dodgers. Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, Nick Punto all on the plane to Los Angeles. They go to the Dodgers along with Carl Crawford, who's out for the year after Tommy John surgery, with the Red Sox getting 5 players back, $275 million in contract obligations go from Boston to L.A. The Red Sox will pick up about $12 million of that $275 million.
Another overzealous ownership, thinking that the money's going to take them to the Holy Grail.
And maybe they're right. I mean, they spent over $2 billion for the team, so they obviously have some money left over for payroll. Brandon Barnes leading off in the third, 1 for 3 last night with an RBI double, and he takes a call strike on the outside, 0-2. Well, think about what the Dodgers have done now in the course of a month. Picked up Hanley Ramirez, Shane Victorino, and Adrian Gonzalez for the middle of their lineup. Turner into foul ground to grab the foul pop. And Barnes retired one away.
We said the 8th start at first base for Justin.
By the way, the Red Sox get 5 players in that deal. James Loney, the only real big leaguer. Ruby De La Rosa, who just came back from the DL, who has pitched in the major leagues, and Ivan DeJesus Jr., Jerry Sands. They've also had a little big league time, as well as prospect pitcher Alan Webster. They all go to Boston. So this is an unprecedented deal when you talk about an August trade and an enormous salary dump on the part of the Red Sox, and the Dodgers just taking on more and more payroll every week as Brian Bogusevic swings through the knuckleball, and it's 0-2.
That's just absurd.
What's amazing too is, you know, all these players getting through waivers and enabling this deal to happen, which does not occur often in August. Usually players will get blocked and you won't be able to consummate a deal like this. But I think most people believe this is the biggest deal that's ever been executed in August after the trading deadline. Out to left field, and Bays got it. Bogusevic retired. So 8 up and 8 down for R.A. Dickey.
I think from unprecedented, obviously from a financial standpoint, cash standpoint.
I think it's a great deal for the Red Sox to unburden themselves, especially in the case of Beckett, who has clearly underperformed the last couple of years. Crawford, who, I mean, he may not play until the middle of next year, coming off Tommy John surgery. Who knows? I mean, Adrian Gonzalez is clearly the key piece for the Dodgers, who, you know, are looking for some production from first base, but they just haven't gotten it from Loney. As Abad takes a strike, 1-1. But Boston clears up all that payroll so they can go in whatever direction they want. And Abad floats one over third, and it's a foul ball. So Abad, who's never had a big league hit, in fact, he's only had one big league at bat, taking a crack at a blue pit. I mean, certainly the Red Sox had the resources to pay as much as they wanted for whomever they wanted, which they did. But now they've got that much more to spend. 1-2 from Dickey, and he strikes him out. Dickey has his second strikeout. He's gone perfectly through the Astros first time through. We go to the bottom of the third with no score.
to you by Nissan. Get to Nissan Summer Saving Days. The event ends September 4th. Visit choosenissan.com. What happened? Oh, she just wanted her bobblehead. I hope that's enough to soothe her.
I think so.
She's putting Mike in his place now. Mike Piazza bobblehead day, and not a bad likeness for Mike. Next question on Mike is, when he goes in the Hall of Fame, will it be as a Met or as a Dodger?
I think a Met, don't you?
You know, I think it's pretty 50-50. I mean, he went to the World Series with the Mets, but he had his best seasons statistically as a Dodger. So it's a tough call.
He had some pretty doggone good years here.
He did, but he had 360 as a Dodger.
Carried his the Mets to a National League championship. How many countless big hits over his career at Shea, and big hits, home runs too, late. Not just singles. You know, he got the big bomb when it was needed.
Andres Torres fouls it off. Torres led off the first inning with a base hit. I think ultimately it will come down on the side of the Mets.
I do too. I think it should.
But I think it's close.
And I'm not being biased here. You know, I was born on the West Coast. I think it should.
Yeah, but you were born in the West Coast, Northern California, where they hate the Dodgers.
Well, my dad always said it should have been 2 states. The one's the desert. Before they started stealing money from the Colorado River, they were taking it out of Northern California. It's a desert down there.
So if it was going to be 2 states, where are you drawing the line?
Well, Tehachapi Pass. You've heard the Tehachapi Pass, right?
No, I haven't.
From Tucson to Tucumcari, Tehachapi. Remember that song?
Tonopah. Yeah.
So that's right in the middle of the state. It's the main road that goes right down the middle of the state, north and south. It's a beautiful pass. And what it is you come off the pass going south and you're down in the desert.
Off the subject of Mike Piazza.
Yes.
Torres lines one into left center, and he's got his second hit.
Double.
Chased down by Barnes. Torres takes the turn. He's going to try it. Barnes is throw on a hop, and Torres is out.
Jeez.
Second time in 2 days that a Met has been thrown out by an Astros outfielder trying to stretch. Last night it was Steve Pearce throwing out right. And today, Brandon Barnes with a nice throw to get Torres.
Well, both plays, this one in particular. Now, this is a nice play by Torres, trying to get 2 here, leading off the inning. This throw had to be perfect to get him, and it was. One hop again, Gary, right to the bag. 5 feet left or right, he's safe. It's a perfect throw.
Altuve spins and gets the tag down, and Torres is clearly out. So a hit for Torres, but the first out of the inning, and now Ruben Tejada takes a strike. And the Mets' offensive woes just continue in every regard, whether it's leaving runners on base, losing runners on the base paths, trying to be aggressive and having it come up empty.
That's a good play right there.
Oh, it is, but it's what happens when things are going bad.
Correct.
Castro in foul ground runs down the pop-up by Tejada for the second out.
The other team executes. And executed 2 perfect throws. Got David Wright last night. Now Torres today. What's the old saying? No club looks as good as it looks when it's red hot, and no club looks as bad as it looks when it's in a slump.
So here's Wright, who came up with 2 men on in the first inning and struck out. We were talking in the open about the pressure that attends every David Wright at bat, because he's clearly the most potent threat in the lineup. And that goes a lot of different ways. You know, David all of a sudden has been intentionally walked a lot more. He's been obviously pitched tough all year, but particularly in the second half as the Mets have struggled.
Well, he was walked intentionally a lot in the beginning of the year too, with Ike struggling, hitting behind him, and Duda. He's got 16 intentional passes on the year,
which is the most in the National League.
But he really stayed level in line drives and discipline that first half. And he's gotten a little bit back to pulling, and a little bit more of that uppercut's kind of crept back into his swing in the second half. And we all know what happened when the second half started. And I think he started maybe trying to put too much on his shoulders. Would you pitch to him, Gary? The game on the line?
Why would you?
Oh, but shoot. If I was a righty, I would. I'm going to pitch to him? Heck no.
Although we had the situation 2 nights ago, Mets were down 1-0 in the ninth, and the tying run at second. They had a right-hander on the mound, and they went after him rather than pitching around him with first base open, and got him out. The Rockies did. And there's ball 4, and so David draws his 73rd walk of the year. That's second in the National League. Second walk given up by Abad. And Scott Hairston will bat with a man on. Scott flied out with 2 men on in the first.
He flied out to left, and he just missed it and went a long way. He was right on it, just got under it. Again, when things go bad. Squeeze that bat a little tighter, swing it just a little harder.
We mentioned Fernando Abad had never pitched more than 2 innings in a major league game. He had never faced more than 9 batters in a major league game. So this inning is the first time he's ever faced any hitters twice in the same game. Torres, Tejada, Wright, and now Hairston coming up against Abad for the second time. A new experience for him in a major league game. Justin Turner on deck. Most of Abad's big league experience has been as a left-handed specialist, and the numbers prove that out. This year, the right-hand hitters are hitting .340 against him. The lefty's .255. 26-year-old lefty from the Dominican getting his first big league start today. And Hairston had a good rip at that fastball and fouled it back. 0-2.
Power against power there. Right into Hairston's strength. Outside corner. Good cut.
Right, a very short lead at first. And that one bounces into Castro and knocks it down.
Nice block by Castro. Watch him just use his body here. Smother it. Really nicely done. Nicely done.
Stanford guy, you know.
Is he? Can I say an Indian? No, it's a cardinal.
It's a tree.
Insulting.
I still don't understand why their mascot is a tree.
It's a sequoia too, a redwood. It's the big boys. I mean, that's the monster trees.
Gerald Sherman?
There are redwood forests around Stanford, up in the coastal mountain ranges. It'll just blow you away.
One-two to Hairston, and he watches up and away.
Now, if all your catchers, your young catchers back there, we always show you the frontal view. But watch him go forward and to get the shorter hop.
He is to deaden it as best you can.
You've got that ball coming in. You see it's going to be an in-between hop, and you're kind of going to just cut the distance down. You got to be careful too, because the guy might swing and it's interference.
Slider inside and a full count to Hairston. So after Abad got ahead of him 0-2, Hairston works the count full, so Wright will be in motion now. Abad with the 3-2, and Hairston lays off ball 4.
Boy, did he give away that changeup.
So back-to-back 2-out walks to Wright and Hairston, and that creates a chance for Justin Turner.
He's better off throwing his curveball.
Doug Brocail, the Astros pitching coach, out for a conversation. The problem for Abad is these walks build up his pitch count and hasten his exit from the game in his first start.
Well, he better go work on back on his side sections with that changeup. The Western Union.
So here's Turner, who was hit on the back pocket by a pitch his first time up. Mets 0 for 3 already today with runners in scoring position. And it's another chance for Turner here. Trying to get R.A. Dickey a run. Breaking ball misses to Turner for ball 1.
Can't get his breaking ball over. Make him get it up, and then it's meat if he gets it up.
Ronnie Cedeno waits on deck. Right at second, Hairston at first with 2 out. And Turner grounds one to short. And so it goes. Green throws out Turner, side retired. Mets had 3 base runners in the inning. No score.
Away. Piazza rips it. Will it stay fair? Goodbye, home run! Mike Piazza! A 3-run homer! 11 days!
Well, remembering some of Mike Piazza's big moments on his bobblehead day, that was a game in which the Mets trailed the Braves 8-1 going to the bottom of the 8th. They had scored 7 times to tie it, and then Piazza hit that 3-run homer off Terry Mulholland to cap a 10-run inning to put the Mets in front. A memorable shot indeed as Jose Altuve fouls off Dickey's first pitch of the 4th inning. And there is the way the box score looked that day. 10-run inning, matched at the time the largest inning in Mets history. They eclipsed that a few years ago in Chicago with an 11-run inning. But you were talking about Piazza getting the big hit,
right?
The big home run. That was one of them.
Well, I remember the home run that sticks out in my mind.
Altuve grounds one down to Turner, and he'll take it himself.
Just because it was so prodigious was that home run he hit off. I remember the scaffolding where all that shea where all the camera crews were, the center field cameras. And he hit it around 3 levels up. Jeez.
Well, there was the one he hit on the party tent against the Yankees. There was, I remember the one in '98 in Houston that he hit off Billy Wagner to tie a game in the 9th inning. The one he hit off Trevor Hoffman in the bottom of the 10th after when the Padres had gone like 180 straight games not blowing a lead. And even the one in a losing cause in Game 6 in Atlanta in '99 after the Mets fell behind 5-0 early. He hit one off Smoltz to tie up the game in that Game 6 of the League Championship Series. 1-2 to Martinez. He had a bunch of those. And then came back to Shea as a Padre and hit 2 home runs in his first game back.
ripped into right field, and Fernando Martinez has the first Astros hit, tracked down by Hairston nicely to hold Martinez to a single. So after Dickey had retired the first 10, Fernando Martinez has the first hit.
There's a knuckler. Didn't really, kind of just floated in there. Too much rotation.
So the Mets have now gone a whole 75 games without a no-hitter. Remember when it used to be 8,000 something?
I do. You remember it more than me.
Here's Brett Wallace with 1 out and 1 on, and he takes a strike. Wallace flied to left his first time. Scott Moore is the on-deck batter. Wallace, who failed in a trial with the Astros last year, but has come back from the minor leagues and swung the bat well. And Tolley knocks that one down. R.A. Dickey trying for his 16th win of the year. It's been a slog for him the last 6 starts, even though he's pitched well. He's just 2-3 over that time with a 2.79 ERA. So he's pitched at the same level he's pitched all year, just not had the support that he had earlier in the season. 2-2 now to Wallace, but those are the vagaries of getting victories as a starting pitcher. Johnny Cueto failed to get his 17th in his start the other night. Dickey can match the league leaders with a win today.
And of course, Steven Strasburg, how deep will they go with him into the season?
Not much deeper. Two from Dickey to Wallace, and he slashes one foul. Well, think of it this way when you think about Dickey's season. 13 times this year he's gone at least 7 innings and given up no runs or 1 run. So that's 13 times that he has been completely dominant. And he got victories the first 12 times that he did that, 7 innings, 1 run or less, until that last start against Colorado when he picked up a no decision. That's where he ranks in the National League, 2nd in strikeouts, but should be 1st by the end of the day. Floats that knuckleball outside, 3-2 to Wallace. Dickey began the day with 181 strikeouts, 2 behind Strasburg, so he's tied him already this afternoon. Martinez at first, 3-2 with 1 out. Let's see if he's running. He is, and Wallace hits it right at the shortstop. Tejada only able to knock it down, and so he has to settle for the out at first. And if Ruben had handled that cleanly, even with the runner going, it was hit so hard, he probably would have been able to turn 2.
He would have. He did everything right. He stayed in front, kept his body in front. This is a tough in-between hop. He took it. Oh, he might have taken it in a tough spot there. Let's see that again.
Ruben's trying to walk it off now.
I think he, as we used to say, he got his bell rung.
Well, it's a lesson to the young players. Even if it's uncomfortable, always wear your cup.
Absolutely. On an infielder, absolutely.
So Ruben needs a moment. Ray Ramirez, the trainer, is out there talking to him. Terry Collins is on his way out as well.
It does take a little while to go away.
Time heals all.
It's always a delayed reaction, too. I know from experience. Nice play. That's taking one for the team.
And Fernando Martinez stifling a laugh. We've all been there. So Rubin's okay. Runner at second now with 2 down, and Scott Moore the batter. Moore flied out to right field his first time up. The Astros with their first opportunity with a runner in scoring position today. And Moore takes the knuckleball high for ball 1. I think he hasn't been getting a whole lot of help from Chad Fairchild today. Hasn't really needed much help so far. Tyler Green on deck. And that one floats away, and it's 2-0. Rays gotten better as the situation's gotten tighter this year. And there's a strike. 2-1. Overall batting average against him is .221, which is 4th best in the National League. Martinez at second and 2 out. And it's tapped towards second base. In comes Cedeno, and he makes the play on Moore to end the inning. So Dickey gives up his first base runner, gets through the inning unscathed. No score here at Citi Field. It's Mike Piazza bobblehead day. It's Mike's first day when he walked into the Mets dugout. Big home runs galore, you betcha. Better scoring opportunities. They've left 5 on base in the first 3 innings. Ronnie Cedeno leads off in the home 4th. Cedeno batted with the bases loaded and 2 out in the first and grounded out to short on the first pitch he saw. And he takes a strike from Fernando Abad. So Abad's had to sidestep a couple of jams in his first big league start and done that so far. Jason Bay on deck. Josh Tolley behind him. And a 2-strike count on Cedeno. And Cedeno jumps back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Ronnie grounds one toward the middle. That'll go through for a base hit. So Cedeno staying in the middle of the field gives the Mets their 3rd hit against Abad.
Up the middle. Stayed right with the little fastball away.
So Cedeno's aboard. Jason Bay coming up. Let's check in with Tiffany.
Guys, you know how Terry Collins made that comment that what this team is going through is very humbling and they're going to have to fight through it. And it's easy to see how that same sentiment is very applicable to what the Astros have gone through this season. So when I talked to their manager, Tony DeFrancesco, he said, look, when I came in on August 19th, I told this team, this is a new chapter. We're going to have to put everything in the past as a memory. It's a hard one, but it is done. And of course, that's easy to say, but when you don't have a lot of veterans on this team, who really carries that message? Chris Snyder pretty much is the veteran of this team, and when I spoke with him, he said that change rejuvenated a lot of guys, and when you get wins, even if they're few and far between, it's easier to start believing in that new chapter theory.
Of course, the other piece of that is when you have young players on a team that's going nowhere, regardless of the wins and losses, virtually everybody on that team, the Astros, and really it goes for the vast majority of folks playing for the Mets right now, they're all fighting for jobs for next year. And that, I would imagine, is the greatest motivation of all.
It's a great way to make a living, is it not?
You wouldn't want to do anything to let that get in your way, would you?
Or don't lose that thought.
Abad now behind on base, 3-0. Jason flied out to the edge of the warning track in left field his first time up. Well, since 2009, when the Mets first found themselves out of contention late in the year, their second half record has not been pretty. It was true under Jerry Manuel. It's been the same under Terry Collins. Too high, ball 4, and Bay is on with a walk. Fourth walk given up by Abad. And that's going to lead to some stirring around of that Astros bullpen. Certainly every chance that Abad might be nearing his limit in his first major league start. Now Josh Thole, who hit the ball hard his first time up and lined out to short. Mickey Story, the right-hander, will be the first man up in the Houston bullpen.
Well, Abad has been really on the razor's edge here. He's really been putting himself in big trouble. Astros think there's a bunt on. With pitcher up next.
No.
Find that hard to believe. At the corner's end. Kidding me?
And now they move back a little bit.
Move back further.
Thole fouls it off. What you forget sometimes is that when you've managed in the minor leagues forever, in most minor league games, pitchers don't bat.
Okay, that's fine.
Especially with a guy like Tony DeFrancesco, who managed in the Oakland organization for years, where the pitchers never bat. So that, you know, that subtlety of strategy might have escaped him on that first pitch.
Well, you got 2 strikes on the batter. Where's Brett Wallace playing at first base? What is he thinking? Can we get a shot at first base? Look at this. Come on. You got 2 strikes in the batter. Get back. Got a good hitter that can't run. Get back. I guess that's why they got the worst record in baseball. That is just mind-boggling.
And Thole hits a double play ball right at Green. And Altuve with the easy turn for the 6-4-3 double play. It almost gets comical after a while. I mean, Thole again hit the ball right on the nose, but right at the shortstop. In 3 out of the 4 innings, the Mets have had multiple runners on base, but still looking for their first run. And, you know, you get that kind of body language leaving the field, and that doesn't help either.
You can't have that kind of body language. Okay, things are tough. That's when you got to dig deep. It becomes an anchor around the neck.
So Dickey bats with 2 out and a runner at third. Already fly to center his first time up. It's that heaving the shoulders, look of resignation and that can permeate a team, and you don't want that.
That's when you've got to keep the positive attitude.
Well, tapper by Dickey. Who's going to play it? Nobody! And the run comes in.
That's it.
Well, that's what the Mets needed. Somebody on the other side to mess up, and it produces a run as Abad and Castro couldn't figure out who should play the ball. Cedeno comes in, and it's 1-0 New York.
Well, it's Castro's ball. He's got the momentum going forward. He doesn't want it. He's got to call it. It's a bad play.
And now the concern is for Abad, who threw that ball very awkwardly while falling. And the trainer comes out to have a look at him. So Dickey gets credit for a base hit on that comedy. His 3rd RBI of the year. First run of the game brought to you by Chevy, on the web at ChevyOffers.com.
Well, apropos.
Well, it's the nature of the game, right? You hit a bullet at the shortstop, it costs you 2 outs. You hit a 15-foot dribbler.
And the pitcher.
And the pitcher and catcher do a dance, fall to the ground, and you get a run. Well, it's been a while, but the Mets finally get a hit. You know, it wasn't much of a hit, but it was a hit with a runner in scoring position. First time in 3 days.
What kind of outfit does the trainer have on for the Astros? Look at that. It's like he's going to play a round of golf. What the heck is that?
Very well appointed.
Jeez.
So a run is in somehow. Dickey on at first with 2 out. Now Andres Torres, who's 2 for 2 already today. Single to center and then single to left center, but then got thrown out trying to stretch it into a double, and a good throw by Brandon Barnes in center field. And Torres, first pitch swinging, ties himself in a knot, 0-1. Ruben Tejada would be next. That's now with a run on 4 hits. Torres floats one foul, and it's 0-2. Abad up to 70 pitches on the afternoon. And he strikes out Torres. Castro has to locate it and make the toss to end the inning. Second strikeout for Abad, who recovered after this very strange play gave the Mets the first run of the game. Dickey hits it about 20 feet, and on the rollover, the Mets get their first run. came after Josh Tolley hit a hard shot into a double play.
Now we're talking about the body language here. Everybody knows how frustrating it is. And the walking into the dugout. And the whole attitude. It's easy to be up and about when you're going good and the team's going good. This is infectious in a very negative way. No one's going to feel sorry for you. We all know it's tough times. But you can't walk off the field. This is when you've got to push it. You've got to run off and on the field as a team, as a group, when things are bad like this.
Now totally back behind the plate as Tyler Green leads off the 5th inning and takes the knuckleball inside. So Dickey has got his run. He got one the last time, and then he gave up a tying home run, and it was enough to cost him a no decision. And if you're RA right now, I mean, he knows the deal. He's driven in a run, and there may not be more to come. So you got to try and pitch a shutout. And Green takes outside. The 5th inning brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Visit your Tri-State Ford dealer today. Jason Castro on deck, then Brandon Barnes in the 5th. 2-2 to Green. Dickey, who has averaged more than a strikeout per inning this year, has only struck out 2 so far today, but has walked none and given up just 1 hit, a Fernando Martinez single in the 4th. Slow ground ball. Tejada on the charge. Nice pickup. Close play, and he got him by an eyelash. Green, who can get down the line, has retired 1 away.
Well, he's just solid and reliable. Nothing fancy. Gets the job done all year long. Always on his toes, Gary. Never falling asleep. Never gets a bad break on a ball. Always in the game.
0-1 to Castro. Well, the Mets could not be happier than what they've gotten defensively from Ruben Tejada. You can throw in the offense too, but more importantly for the shortstop, defense. Over the second baseman's head and into right field, and Castro has a base hit. The second Houston hit, a 1-out single. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Lawless in theaters everywhere Wednesday. It's not Tom Lawless.
Maybe it's about Tombstone. Lawless.
Well, there's lawlessness in a lot of different places. Here's Brandon Barnes, who pops one foul off to the right out of play. You know, watching that last play by Tejada and watching him day after day got me to thinking. You know who's won the Gold Glove in the National League at shortstop the last 2 years? It's Troy Tulowitzki.
Right.
And he's missed
most
of the year. So the question is, who is going to be his successor as the Gold Glove shortstop in this league?
Has Furcal ever won a Gold Glove? I don't believe so.
I would guess he would be a candidate. Doesn't cover quite as much ground as he used to, but has that great arm.
He's been healthy this year too.
You go up and down the league, and there is not a candidate that really stands out in my mind, unless I'm missing somebody. Drive to center field. Torres will have to play it on the hop, so Barnes has a base hit. Castro pulls in at second. So the Astros with back-to-back hits against Dickey from the 6 and 7 hitters. And now the tying run in scoring position with 1 out.
Just didn't do anything, did it? Sometimes they don't float.
So 2 aboard for Brian Bogusevic, who flied out to left in his only at bat. And he grounds one foul, 0-1. I mentioned that the Astros have 3 former first-round draft picks in their lineup. Bogusevic is one of them. He was actually drafted out of Tulane as a pitcher in 2005 and spent 3.5 years pitching in the Astros organization. They didn't move him to the outfield till 4 years ago. Steve Pearce out on deck to pinch hit. The snap throw by Dickey, and just back in time is Castro. Well, nobody makes that play other than Dickey on that reverse spin. I believe they called a balk.
Oh.
They called a balk. That's a move that Dickey has used often this year. That reverse spin and the snap. And the umpires, I believe, are going to talk about it. And now they wave off the ball.
Are you kidding?
So there you go. Because it's something we've seen Dickey do multiple times this year. Now Tony DeFrancesco, of course, is going to come out to argue, because the rules say that you're not allowed to argue a balk, which the Mets did to get the umpires to change their minds. So Tony is actually on pretty firm ground here in arguing that the Mets shouldn't have been able to get it reversed. But at the same time, it appears that they were right in reversing it.
I think the Brian O'Nora overruled here. Let's see if he has to step off.
Not.
He stepped back.
It's a move that only Dickey is able to make, and in part because he doesn't have that ulnar collateral ligament in his right elbow, that he can torque himself that way and make that snap throw to second.
Well, that's a big call. Big overturn, I should say.
Well, it keeps the double play in order as Bogusevic takes outside 1-1. But I don't think I've ever seen a balk overturned before. Have you?
Was it no? Brian O'Nora, was he the third base umpire that overruled that? Because that's where Fairchild looked.
Hit hard. Nice knockdown by Turner. He finds it. Dickey to cover, but too late. And the bases are loaded. Well, Turner did well just to get a glove on this, but couldn't locate it in time to get the out. And now the bases are loaded. It'll be a base hit for Bogusevic.
Dickey's late getting over. He knocked. He see that he looked, and that hesitation. He got beat to the bag. A pitcher should never get beat to the bag.
And Turner stepping on it after knocking it down, which made it more difficult.
And he clearly beat it.
So Bogusevic has an infield hit, and the Mets 1-0 lead in jeopardy. Steve Pearce will be the pinch hitter. As Dan Warthen goes to the mound for a conversation, we'll look at that play again.
Well, pitchers are always taught, ball hit to the right side, you break instantly. Watch Dickey. He watches, spectator, and there's the difference. And he knows it. He's been around long enough. So he's created his own little jam here. And let's see how the Mets are going to play. They're going to play back for two. They should.
Pierce started the game last night, went 0 for 3 and a walk. Castro, Barnes, and Bogusevic the base runners. Pierce 0 for 3 in his career against Dickey. So a big spot for RA to try and hold on to this 1-0 lead. And Pierce takes the first pitch knuckleball for a strike.
I just don't understand how you can go up with men on base and take a first pitch if it's a pitch to your liking.
When is a knuckleball ever to your liking?
You're going to wait around? Knuckleball's a whole different ballgame. They throw it for a strike, you got to hack. But just to go up there, his whole approach wasn't even to swing, Gary. He was taken all the way. And it's, I'm sorry, it's the second time around.
Now Dickey ahead 0-2 on Pierce.
Slow ground ball, tough to turn two. They get one. The relay by Cedeno in time. He got him. What a play by Ronnie Cedeno, and the Mets turn two to get Dickey through the inning. This is the escape hatch. Tejada, tough catch for Cedeno, and he manages to turn it over. 6-4-3 is 1-0 New York.
The game brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building.
Well, Cedeno makes a beautiful turn here and a vicious, clean, hard slide to break up 2 through the bag. Look at Cedeno hang in there.
Well, that right knee caught the brunt of Bogusevic going in hard. And R.A. Dickey could not be more appreciative of that superb play by Cedeno to turn over that double play. He walked off gingerly, but he appears to be okay.
He hung in there. He didn't pull an Olay. He stayed right there. Beautiful play.
So thus far tied with a 1-0 lead. Mets will come to bat against Mickey Story, his 10th big league game.
Well, he was called up August 3rd, and since that time he has had the most appearances of anybody in that bullpen, so it's another arm they call up.
He was just acquired in a trade from Oakland at the end of June. And yet another player that the Astros have brought into this organization just to fill out their roster with all the players they traded away at the deadline. As Ruben Tejada takes a strike, Tejada has walked and fouled to the catcher 0 for 1. Mickey Story out of Florida Atlantic University, 31st round pick by Oakland back in 08. And the slider to Tejada, 0-2.
A good one. He chased.
Story working in back of Fernando Abad, who went 4 innings in his first big league start. Didn't pitch badly. Certainly had enough trouble to contend with, but he allowed just 1 run and 4 hits, walked 4, struck out 2. Mets stranding 6 runners in the first 4 innings and getting their only hit when Abad and his catcher Jason Castro collided on R.A. Dickey's infield hit. And Tejada floats one into shallow center. Barnes coming on and makes the running grab. He's looked good out there in center field.
He can fly.
He came up with a reputation as an outstanding defensive outfielder, maybe questionable offensively.
Well, he showed all of that. Tejada gets fooled here, kind of a half swing. And it's a routine play, but a lot of ground to cover.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now David Wright. David has struck out and walked today, 0 for 1. Hits it in the air to deep right center. Back goes Barnes onto the warning track right at the wall to make the catch. Barnes coming in and Barnes going away to take an extra base hit away from David Wright. 2 out.
Right at the 390 sign. That's a poke opposite field. There he picks up the wall. He knew exactly where it was. Nice play.
Wright making a bid to the opposite field. In the wake of his 200th home run last night, the folks at Elias did some number crunching on David's home runs. Here at Citi Field, he's at 30 home runs. 8 of the 30, that's a little under 27%, have gone to right or to right center. At Shea Stadium, he hit 70. 22 of those were to right or right center. That's a little over 31%. So a higher percentage went the other way at Shea than they did here. Of course, you know, here it takes in 3 years of the fences being further back and 1 year of them being a little more friendly. There's a call strike to Hairston. On the road, he's only hit 25% of his home runs the other way. So a lower percentage, 25 out of 100 on the road, have gone to right and right center. So make of those numbers what you will.
Exactly.
Hairston has flied out and walked 0 for 1. Well, I think what it does is it says that maybe the Citi Field impact that we talked about for the first 3 years with the fences so deep wasn't as great as we thought, in that he hit a higher percentage of his home runs the other way here than he did on the road. Popped up into shallow right center. Altuve out, Bogusevic in, and Bogusevic, looking through the sunglasses, has it. 3 fly ball outs for Mickey Story, gets him through the bottom of the 5th. Dickey back to the mound for the 6th with a 1-0 lead. Jersey, just text Mookie to 48593 to enter. That's MOOKIE if you don't know how to spell Mookie. Message and data rates may apply. Lucas Duda made that photo. He'll be back soon. In fact, Terry was just talking about Lucas today and how he's had his ups and downs down in Buffalo. He's hitting 260 down there, but he'll be back and probably playing most days in left field in September. Jose Altuve leads off the 6th inning. Third time through the order. Hits a slow ground ball to Tejada, who's been busy. 1 pitch and 1 out for Dickey in the 6th inning. And that'll bring up Fernando Martinez, who had the first Houston hit today. Dickey retired the first 10 before Martinez, behind in the count 1-2, rifled a base hit into right field. The Braves lost again last night to the Giants out west. Giants have been hot. They've won 5 straight now. But the Braves made a couple of player moves today that one of which comes as no surprise, one of which may be somewhat of a surprise for Met fans. The first move is that Ben Sheets goes on the disabled list. And given his history, that's no surprise. Sheets was terrific his first 5 starts, struggled the last 3, and now he's got shoulder inflammation. The more surprising part is the player they called up to replace him, Miguel Batista, who was with the Mets earlier this year before he was released, and now he's with the Atlanta Braves.
That'll be a lot of 3-2 counts.
Miguel, you know how a cat has 9 lives? He has about 18. And he's not even left-handed.
Are they going to start him?
No, I don't think so. They've been using a 6-man rotation. I think they'll go back to 5 now. David Wright catches the foul pop-up from Fernando Martinez for the 2nd out. Of course, you know, Miguel is not the only ex-Met who's found work in a bullpen in the major leagues. You look lately at what Ollie's doing in Seattle?
No.
He's been terrific.
Really?
Yeah. And Seattle's been one of the hotter teams in baseball. They had their 8-game winning streak stopped last night.
How old is Ollie?
He's not old.
30 in his low
Probably
30s?
31.
Why don't you tell the folks who pitched against Buffalo last night? Why don't you tell the folks who pitched against the AAA Metsies last night?
Oh, you mean for Scranton?
Yep.
I believe that was John Maine starting for Scranton last night. 6 innings, no earned runs. John's not fared very well, though. His ERA is about 5.5. And I think it was Ryota Igarashi who finished up that game for Scranton.
In relief?
Against the Buffaloes, against the Bisons. The word is that the Mets may be out of Buffalo after the year and moving to another AAA venue. 1-1 to Wallace and a swing and a miss at the knuckleball. 1-2.
Further south? Possibly?
I don't know. I mean, you know, they went from New Orleans to Buffalo. Now the word is that it might be Las Vegas, which is not quite as convenient geographically. 2-2 now to Wallace.
I don't think I'd want my young players anywhere near those casinos. I wish they had stayed in Norfolk all those years. They were there forever.
Those kids don't make enough money to lose at the casino.
That's right. You can't find that dollar table anymore.
I'd be more concerned if you had a major league team there. Line to left. Bay is in front of it and puts it away to retire the side. Dickey has a 1-2-3 inning. He's got 6 scoreless under his belt, maintaining a 1-0 lead. U.S. Open begins on Monday.
I'm going to try to get over there this year.
Well, we'll be on the road for most of it. That's upcoming schedule brought to you by Chrysler and the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. In fact, that road trip starts Tuesday in Philadelphia. Let's go to Philly, Miami, and St. Louis on their upcoming trip after finishing their series with the Astros tomorrow afternoon.
Well, I'm going to head on down the turnpike on Monday afternoon, Garrett. How about you? You going to go Monday or go the day of the game?
Go Monday. Team is leaving Monday late afternoon. I'll hop on the bus. No muss, no fuss.
I'm going to take the old Amtrak down there, Acela, and get there around 5 o'clock, have a nice dinner.
Justin Turner leads off the home sixth.
With my good friend Gary Matthews.
You guys swapping war stories?
Well, we'll talk, I'm sure. He's got a gift to gab.
And you?
Drive to deep left field off the bat of Turner toward the wall. It's out of here. Justin Turner with his first home run of the season. And the Mets have a 2-0 lead. Justin Turner had gone 258 at bats since his last home run more than a year ago. His first of the season gives the Mets a 2-0 edge.
Well, he pulled one. That's why he hasn't had a home run in a long time. He really went down and dropped the barrel on this one. Down and in. And he just turned on it.
And that was the rest of the story. Now Ronnie Cedeno takes a call strike.
Down and in. Big leg kick. Let's go with one hand on the follow through. That was a 2-iron out of here.
Cedeno had a base hit, scored the first Met run, and he grounds one to short. And Tyler Green makes the low throw, scooped out by Wallace for the first out. 258 at bats. It's a long time.
Yes, it is. It's quite a drought. It's tough when you're not an everyday player.
Now Jason Bay, who's fly deep to left and drawn a walk today, 0 for 1. Mets now with 2 runs and 5 hits. And Bay takes a strike from Mickey Story, who's working his second inning in relief. Story gave up a long drive to David Wright in the 5th inning that Barnes caught against the fence in right center. Not so fortunate against Turner. 0-2 now to Bay. Josh Tolley waiting on deck. Bay's current drought is at 0 for 13. And the breaking ball off the plate, 1-2. Well, the Mets have 2 runs today. They would like to snap this ugly stretch in which they've scored 2 runs or less for 7 straight games. Bay won't help as he takes a call, 3rd strike. First strikeout for Mickey Story. So 2 out of the inning.
Big curve here and a good one. That's a good one.
So now Tolley will bat with 2 out and nobody on. Tolley's hit the ball hard twice, but one line drive right at the shortstop and another hard ground ball at the shortstop for a double play.
Well, it's just interesting that Tolley, who has been really struggling, see his average down to 244, and gets a left-hander and hits 2 balls hard.
Now facing the right-hander Story, and he hits one in the air to deep right center. Back goes Barnes, and he'll get there in front of the warning track to retire the side. Mets get a long ball in the inning, though, off the bat of Justin Turner. More than a year since his last one, Turner turns on one. And the results, a line drive home run, his first of the year, and a 2-0 Met lead after 6. Nothing late as he takes the mound for the 7th inning. RA trying for his 16th win of the year. He's allowed just 4 hits this afternoon. 3 of them came consecutively in the 5th inning. But he wiggled out of that jam on a nice turn of the double play by Ronnie Cedeno. Now Justin Turner's home run has him in front by 2 runs as he takes on the Astros in the top of the 7th. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Resident Evil Retribution. In theaters September 14th. Rated R. Scott Moore is 0 for 2 today. He's flying to right and grounded to second. Moore is hitless in his last 17 at bats. We got a lot of 0-fers going today. Tolley's now 0 for 20. Bay now 0 for his last 14, and now on the other side Moore at 0 for his last 17.
Interesting start for RA. Only 2 strikeouts. He came into this hit by pitch.
So Moore is plunked. 8th batter that Dickey has hit this year, and a leadoff base runner for the Astros for the first time today.
And a knuckleballer is going to get a lot of hit by pitches because of the late movement. And the hitter's got to wait so long to see that ball move in right on his elbow. But getting back to RA, he's come into this game only 2 strikeouts behind the NL lead. Steven Strasburg with 183. RA 181. And only 2 today. Usually RA's striking out a lot of people, but hey, it's all about all the goose eggs he's thrown up there the first 6 innings.
And what makes it even more strange is that the Astros as a team have struck out more than any team in the National League this year.
They've had actually a pretty good approach off RA.
Tyler Green has struck out and grounded out, and he loops one into shallow right for a base hit. Moore to second. He'll take the turn, go to third. Hairston's throw is not in time as Moore slides in safely, and the Astros have first and third and nobody out. So Green just dumping one into right field for the Astros' 5th hit of the game, and the tying runs are on base.
Well, good running, good base running by Moore. Never hesitated. It's a soft liner, fastball. Inside out it. Good strong throw from Hairston, but it was offline. But it's all about the base running here. Never hesitated. Good cut on the bases. Cut the corner nice. The only thing good about the throw was that it was low enough for the cutoff man, so the runner behind, but Green couldn't advance to second. That would have been disaster.
And it keeps the double play in order with Jason Castro the batter.
You see Tejada faking the cutoff. That just froze the runner at first.
Castro's 1 for 2 today. He singled to right his last time up. To double play depth. They'll concede a run to try and get 2. And Castro lines one. Snagged by Cedeno. He timed his leap perfectly. 1 out.
Well, Cedeno's having himself a nice little defensive game here. Turned that big double play back in the 5th. This is not a great play, but this could have been a nice dork. 1st and 3rd, nobody out, 1 run in. Nice leap.
So now Dickey is a double play away from getting through the inning as he takes on Brandon Barnes, who singled to left center his last time up, 1 for 2 on the day. 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and Tolley knocks that one down, and Moore has to hold at 3rd.
He backhanded it there. Unfortunately, got the glove on it, but knuckleball's always tough.
Green going back and standing. I want to go down next time. 10 steals on the year for Tyler Green. Wouldn't be a terrible play for him to be in motion, but Dickey's not easy to run on. He's given up only 2 stolen bases all year.
You're down a couple runs, you don't want to run yourself out of an inning. He's not going anywhere.
And that one gets away from Tolley, and here comes the runner to the plate. Moore scores. Dickey didn't come in to cover the plate, and the Astros have their first run of the day. It's now 2-1.
Well, once again, the backhand, Josh, with not good footwork. 2 back-to-back. He blocked one, got away with it, but not this one. Tough play, but he's got to get his body in front. He has just no fundies right there at all.
Speaking of fun days, R.A., normally a tremendous fielder, did not come home to cover, which is very unusual. Now the tying run at second, and Barnes fouls it off, 2-1. Remember, he was slow covering first 2 innings ago, and this time did not even think about covering home.
Yes, you see that?
A little bit of a head hanging there.
A lot of things are creeping in on this team that aren't good.
So now the Astros a base hit away from tying the game. Here's the 2-1, and that knuckleball misses, and now he's behind on Barnes 3-1 with Bogusevic on deck. So a hit batsman, a single, and a wild pitch produce a run. And Barnes takes ball 4, and now there are 2 men on.
Good at bat by Barnes there. Did not chase any of the bad knuckleballs, the baiting knuckleball.
First walk of the day given up by Dickey. Now Brian Bogusevic, who was 1 for 2, had an infield hit his last time up.
Well, no one getting loose in the Met bullpen. Terry Collins is going to go with his ace.
Yeah, you got to give him every chance
Certainly,
to win.
Certainly.
And only at 84 pitches. And Bogusevic takes a strike. And Francisco has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter, with the pitcher due up next. Bobby Parnell now gets loose in the Mets bullpen.
So Turner's home run right now is the difference.
And Bogusevic gets a double play ball right to Tejada. Cedeno with the turn, and that gets Dickey through the inning. The Astros get a run on a wild pitch, but the Mets turn their second double play of the day. 7th inning stretch, 2-1 New York.
got a couple of double plays to get him out of trouble. And coming off the field after that top of the 7th inning, it looks like his day is done after 85 pitches.
It's kind of hard to say what's going on in that conversation.
You can't tell. I can't exactly tell whether he is saying that he's done or he's being told that he's done. But in any case, he's done. And he will leave for a pinch hitter leading off in the bottom of the 7th. So he'll leave in line for a victory and trust the bullpen to get him 6 outs. Ben Francisco comes in a double switch for the Astros. He'll bat 9th, and the new pitcher is Hector Ambriz, just called up the other day by Houston.
Well, you see his numbers. Orange, California, an LA kid, and Valdespin is going to pinch hit for RA.
So Dickey will leave with a 2-1 lead. And you see his numbers, just 86 pitches today, which is a very small number for Dickey to exit on. And Valdespin jumps back for ball 1. You know, it's hard to read lips and body language from here, but I get the feeling that Dickey told Terry and Dan that he had enough. We'll find out after the game. 1-0 to Valdespin, who takes it wide, and Ambriz falls behind 2-0. Hector Ambriz made his Astros debut Thursday in St. Louis. Began the season in the Cleveland organization. John Roush up in the Mets bullpen, ready to pitch the 8th inning. Valdespin, Torres, and Tejada for the Mets here in the bottom of the 7th. Valdespin started in left field last night, went 0 for 2. Just 11 hits in his last 65 at-bats after a strong start. Nicky Story went 2 innings in relief for Houston, allowed the home run by Turner and nothing else. That home run right now the difference in the game. And Valdespin drops down the bunt, and it'll roll foul.
Well, nice try right there. Just got the lip of the grass. Once it rolls on that lip of the grass, it's usually going to go in foul territory. Get fouled. The runs are still hard to come by, Gary.
Dickey, with his performance this afternoon, dropped his ERA for the season to 2.76. He began the day 5th in the National League in ERA. And he has moved into 4th for the moment with his performance today. And if the Mets can hold off the Astros, he'll tie for the league lead in victories with his 16th. 2-2. Valdespin dribbles one foul. Odd day for Dickey in that he only had 2 strikeouts, averaging 9.3 per 9 innings. Those 2 get him to 183, which ties Steven Strasburg for the National League lead. Hector Ambriz pitching in relief, and this is with the breaking ball. Thought he had him, didn't. 3-2. Ambriz signed with the Astros as a free agent in June after the Indians let him go. Yet another player restocking this Houston organization. And Valdespin draws the walk. At bat for Valdespin, only the 7th walk he's drawn this year. And the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 7th. Now Andres Torres, 2 for 3 today. He'll bat left-handed for the first time, and you suspect that he might be called upon to bunt in this spot. Try and build an insurance run and give the bullpen a little breathing room. As Terry Collins contemplates these last couple of innings, remember that Frank Francisco has been struggling lately, although he came in to get a couple of outs in the game last night as Torres fouls off the bunt attempt.
Well, he's going to bunt here because Torres hasn't really been hitting from the left side. You've got an Ambriz out there who is a little bit on the wild side. Tough to hit and run with a guy that's all over the place.
Tejada and right behind Torres, who's hitting leadoff today. Valdespin, good speed at first, but nobody out. Torres was bunting the first pitch, but set to swing. They pitch out, and the throw down to first, and Valdespin gets back ahead of Castro's throw.
Interesting call right there. Heads up call from the bench, the Astro bench. A lot of times a manager will take the bunt off, let the guy swing, and Terry Collins certainly did here, but 0-1 is not a hit and run count. And Valdespin did not opt to try to steal a base. See, Valdespin's having issues with his back pocket again.
Do you think that's an issue or a style statement?
I don't know.
I remember when players used to be able to wear their hat on the base paths. They would have their hat folded in their back pocket.
Woody Mays was that way.
And then when they got on base, they flipped the helmet away and put on the cap.
Remember the skull caps? Bill Mazeroski wore a skull cap.
The one that fit inside the cap before they were required to wear batting helmets?
Yep, and he hit it. He hit with the skull cap on.
Helmet requirements have evolved. Went from no helmets to the inserts to helmets with no flaps.
To flaps to double flaps.
Now you have coaches wearing helmets too.
To the great Gazoo.
That's right. That David Wright helmet he wore after the concussion in Colorado. What did he wear it one day before he decided it just wasn't the look for him?
Yep, he got a stiff neck, I believe. They said the helmet was too heavy.
Well, they have refined those helmets since, like the ones the Bat Boys wear. The extra protective helmets. 3-1 now to Torres with Valdespin at first, and he pops one up into shallow left. Green tracking it out. And a tough play for him. That should have been Fernando Martinez's ball, but never called him off. But Green stayed with him for the first out.
Fernando wanted nothing to do with that fly ball, and that's his ball.
You got to call off your shortstop.
Just lazy.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Ruben Tejada, who's walked, fouled out, and flied out 0 for 2 today, 0 for 6 in this series. As his batting average hovers just above 300 now, but Ruben's had another terrific defensive game today, as has his double playmate Ronnie Cedeno. And Valdespin was almost going the wrong way.
Now this is the young man that you can maybe put a play on, a hit and run. Speed at first, and Valdespin. Tejada up, who handles the bat well, goes the other way. You can do it first pitch or wait for the count if you want to force the issue.
Tejada pulls one just foul.
Oh.
David Wright waiting on deck. That's trying to break out of this rut that they've been in, scoring 2 runs or less for 7 straight games now. Rory Dickey hoping, if nothing else, that the bullpen can get 6 outs without allowing a run and get him a win. Rory out after 7 innings. Another solid performance today by Dickey. And another pitch out. And that one was almost a pitch out to the backstop.
Well, 1-1 count. Now you put thinking of hit and runs on. And now you've got the classic hit and run count, 2-1. Why is it a good count to hit and run? Because you throw a ball, it's 3-1. So the pitcher's more apt to throw a strike at a 2-1 count with a runner on. Sorry, I was looking at the scoreboard and I said 2-1. I made a mistake.
Now it's 1-2.
That's what I get for relying on the scoreboard.
You have to rely on something in this world. I mean, self-reliance is great, but it only goes so far.
Oh, it's 1-2 now. If we can forget about any play. Tejada's got to bear down. I think it's 1-2. Is it 1-2?
It is 1-2 now. And Tejada goes down on the fastball. 95 from Hector Ambriz for the second out. So Ambriz in just his second appearance for the Astros with an impressive looking heater to get Tejada.
It's only the 56th strikeout of the year for Tejada and 335 at bats. He doesn't strike out very much.
So 2 out. Valdespin still at first after a leadoff walk, and now David Wright, who hit the ball to the fence in right center his last time up, only to see Brandon Barnes reel it in. David's 0 for 2 and a walk today. Mets have had only 5 hits. The Astros have had 5 hits. Mets' first run came on an infield hit by R.A. Dickey on a comedy of errors for the Astros, and they got their second run on a Justin Turner home run. Just enough so far as the Mets try and snap a 6-game losing streak. The Astros broke a 7-game losing streak last night with their 3-1 win. And Ambriz with the breaking ball gets ahead on Wright 0-2.
Ambriz's got a big sweeper. These are all new guys to check out. Pretty good little breaking ball there. Not a strike.
Ambriz had some big league time with Cleveland 2 years ago. Was in 34 games for them. Didn't pitch in the majors at all last year, and now trying to make an impression. It's a new era in Houston, and it's a tryout camp for just about everybody on this roster. They traded away all their veterans at the deadline. Virtually all, anyway. I guess Chris Snyder is the most veteran player left, their backup catcher. But Wandy Rodriguez gone. Red Myers gone. Brandon Lyon gone. Carlos Lee gone. Chris Johnson gone. Ambriz with the 0-2, and he just missed with that breaking ball.
Well, there they are.
Throw in Jay Happ, David Carpenter. Not a lot of experience left on this Houston team. And only $21 million in payroll as a result. The question is, in the offseason, will they spend it all or just go completely young again next year? They lost 106 last year. They're headed in the same kind of direction this year.
You remember the Sports Illustrated cover 1968 after the Cardinals won the World Series, and they had the spring training shot of all the Cardinal lineup with Red Schoendienst in front, sitting in their stools in their locker, and it was the first $1 million salary.
Valdespin runs. Wright takes a call, third strike. It's been a long time since then.
1968, a long time is right.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Ambriz. Mets will hand it off to the bullpen for the 8th, up 2-1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Nice look at Citi Field in its environment amongst the access roads and the Iron Triangle. It's a pretty shot, isn't it? The old Apple outside the ballpark, right near the subway. Championship banners flying out in right center, referenced by Keith earlier, now seen. Nice Saturday afternoon at the ballpark. Mets trying to snap a 6-game losing streak, and up 2-1 as we go to the 8th, and John Roush will take over the pitching.
Well, John's been pitching well. Gave up a run his last time out, I believe, but he's been steady now on a nice roll for on about 6-7 weeks.
Ben Francisco up for the first time, batting 9th in the order, came in on a double switch. Francisco started last night, went 0 for 3. And Roush throws a strike on the inside, 1-1. One and two now to Francisco.
There you go. No.
Get those hands.
No, you're open. Your stance is way too open, son. Come on, let's go.
Give him a toe plate. Make him a pitcher.
Oh, see, he's had enough. Looking for the Shake Shack.
Now the 1-2, and Francisco pops it up. Tolle coming back. And right at the railing to make the grab. Tolle had just enough room. Not a whole lot of space behind the plate in this ballpark.
Well, he gets his gauge on where the screen is and makes it look easy, as he should.
So Francisco retired for the first out. Josh Edgin staying busy in the Mets bullpen. Jose Altuve, a right-hand batter, is up, and then he got a couple of left-hand hitters in Martinez and Wallace. Altuve 0 for 3 today and 0 for 6 in this series. He's had his average over 300 all season. He's right at 300 now. Altuve officially listed at 5'5", the shortest player in the majors since the days of Freddie Patek.
Freddie Patek. Albie Pearson was a small guy, right?
Albie was 5'3", I think,
yeah,
with the Angels back in the 60s. Patek playing with the Royals in the 70s, 5'4". Here's a call strike.
Didn't Albie Pearson play with the Senators too, Washington?
I think you're right. Well, Altuve has played at a level that belies his size. He's got 40 extra base hits this year among his 141 hits. Just 22 years old. He's had a good year, an all-star for the first time. Flies it out to right field. Hairston battling it, and he's got it. 2 out. So Roush has retired 2 in a row, and he's going to leave. With the left-hand hitting Fernando Martinez coming up, Terry Collins is going to bring in Josh Edgin to face him. So the Mets make a pitching change here in the 8th. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Introducing Verizon Fios Quantum Speed, internet twice as fast as anything America has ever seen. Roush out, Edgin in, protecting a 1-run lead in the 8th. Final out here in the top of the 8th.
Well, Josh, his walks are down. I like the walks. Strikeouts, of course, is a hard thrower. He's been getting his little lumps here. He's learning as he's going along. He's giving up a run.
Fernando Martinez takes a breaking ball for a strike. I mean, you saw the numbers for Edgin against left-hand hitters. They're hitting just 132 against him, and more he's being limited to one batter at a time. Last night he came in to get one left-hand hitter. Scott Moore flied out to end the top of the 9th, and now trying to get his one left-hand hitter with Martinez the batter, and he's quickly ahead of him 0-2. Fernando had the first hit against Dickey today after R.A. had retired the first 10. He singled in the 4th. And Edgin missing badly with that breaking ball. 1-2.
He really dropped down there. He didn't get on top of that at all.
Roush faced 2 batters, retired them both in relief of Dickey, who went the first 7. Another left-hand hitter, Brett Wallace, on deck. And another sidearm delivery is bounced foul. We haven't seen all that much of Edgin dropping down like that.
He's been pretty much 3/4 over the top.
You know, the Mets have 39-year-old C.J. Nitkowski pitching in Buffalo, throwing sidearm and hoping to get a shot in September as a lefty specialist. This time he comes over the top with the fastball, and Martinez fouls it off. It'll be quite a success story, by the way, for Nitkowski, the St. John's grad who pitched for the Mets way back when, and trying to forge a comeback at age 39. But you know what they say, if you're left-handed and you can breathe, it's a job for you.
Easiest one of the
CJ's been getting lefties out down in Buffalo.
The wind has completely shifted in the opposite direction. If you recall earlier in the game, it was blowing from left to right, and now the flags are blowing strong out to left field. Complete opposite direction.
7th pitch from Edgin to Martinez, but first Tolley out for a visit. High. Got a big Saturday night coming up. Where are you going to dinner? Want to meet me there?
I don't think so. I don't know what the heck they can talk about.
So now the 2-2 from Edgin to Martinez, and he hits it in the air to right field. On comes Hairston, and he slides and makes the catch. Nicely done by Scott Hairston, who was playing deep and had to hurry in to make the sliding grab to rob Fernando Martinez. Roush and Edgin combined for a 1-2-3 inning. To the bottom of the 8th, 2-1 New York. Judge and Andrew Brown, and they lead the Cubs 4-3 in the 7th. Everything else later on. Madison Bumgarner goes for his 15th win. He's injected himself into the Cy Young conversation as the Giants go for their 6th in a row. Cardinals have won 4 straight. They're just 6 behind the Reds now. Brewers and Pirates tonight as the Pirates fade. They've lost 14 of 21. The Nationals were beaten by the Phillies last night. They still lead the Braves by 6.5 in the East. They face Roy Halladay tonight. And the Dodgers, fortified by that big trade with Boston, play later on tonight as they take on the Marlins with Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Fernando Rodriguez will pitch the bottom of the 8th for Houston.
Well, Rodriguez pitched in the opener. He went 2/3 of an inning with a walk and was relieved by Wilton Lopez, who got the save. But 2/3 of an inning, 1 walk, no runs. He's lost 8 ball games. You saw that 1-8 record. Ouch.
That's looking for insurance in the bottom of the 8th. Scott Hairston, Justin Turner, and Ronnie Cedeno, the 3 scheduled hitters against Rodriguez. Scott is 0 for 2 in a walk today. Just made that nice sliding catch in right field to end the top of the inning. And he takes a fastball for a strike from Rodriguez. For Houston, their starter Fernando Abad, first major league start, 4 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. Mickey Story, 2 innings, 1 run, 1 hit. And Hector Ambriz pitched a hitless inning in the 7th. And now Rodriguez dealing and Hairston fouling, and it's 0-2. Well, the good news is that the Mets have already won 5 games this year in which they've scored 2 runs or less. The bad news is it doesn't always work that way. The Mets, if they don't score here in the bottom of the 8th, they're in danger of having their 8th straight game scoring 2 or fewer. It's a tough way to win games. Grounded toward the middle, and Hairston's got a base hit to start the bottom of the 8th. Just the 6th hit of the afternoon for New York. Video recap brought to you by Volvo, Scandinavian luxury designed around you.
Nope, solo shot, his first home run in a long while. He pulled the ball here, and that is the difference in the ball game right now.
258 at bats between home runs for Turner, who hit his last one more than a year ago. He's also been hit by a pitch today and grounded out, 1 for 2. So Turner getting to start back-to-back games with Daniel Murphy being rested, and he has taken advantage. He was on base twice last night, twice more today, including the home run. Hairston on to start the inning. And Turner fouls it back, 0-1. Ike Davis has come out on deck to bat for Ronnie Cedeno to get a left-handed bat in there against Rodriguez, and then Ike will stay in at first base. Low throw, and Wallace has to pick that out of the dirt. Turner takes a fastball for a strike, and quickly Rodriguez ahead of him 0-2 as he got ahead 0-2 on Hairston before Scott banged a base hit up the middle. Castro down to block it. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, outside of that play that Castro did not make, that was the Mets' first run off that swinging bunt by Dickey that with 2 outs had scored the first run. Castro has done a real nice job blocking back behind the dish.
Now the 1-2 to Turner, and the breaking ball is foul back.
Oh boy, big hanger right there. Boy, oh boy, when you get these, just hate to miss. Oh, right on a tee.
Now the 1-2 to Turner, and another block by Castro. 2-2. So they're trying to get Turner out with breaking balls after getting ahead with fastballs. And Castro's have to do some extra duty down in the dirt. Castro missed all of last year with a knee injury. He recently came back from the DL as that knee acted up again. It's hard to be nimble back there when you've had knee problems. And Turner chases the fastball and goes down on strikes. So that's the first out of the inning.
Well, it's his best pitch, his fastball, Rodriguez. And Turner just ball's way outside. Very rarely swings at a bad pitch, but he knew it.
Now Ike Davis up to pinch hit. Ike started last night, went 0 for 2, but drew 2 walks. Tony DeFrancisco on his way to the mound. He's got a left-hander up in the bullpen, and he will take the ball from Fernando Rodriguez and make the pitching change. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Introducing Verizon Fios Quantum Speed. Internet twice as fast as anything America has ever seen. The pitching for the Astros.
28th game, you can see with 20 innings pitched, he's a specialist guy, but they can look left-handers hitting 273 off him. He's very, very fair. Right-handers 273 too.
Balance. Fair and balanced.
I wonder if he does it under budget.
Cedeno, a Puerto Rican native. He actually has a birthday coming up tomorrow. He'll turn 27 years old. Originally drafted by the Rockies, who released him 2 years ago. The Astros signed him up. And he's one of 2 lefties in that Houston bullpen, along with Wesley Wright, who we saw last night. The best news at 10 is the Pix 11 news at 10. Join Jody, Mr. G, Mocker, and Howard for a genuinely different newscast. See the difference weeknights at 10 right here on Pix 11. Hairston at first and 1 out. Ike Davis pinch hitting for Ronnie Cedeno, denying us the coveted Cedeno versus Cedeno matchup. Ike has done well as a pinch hitter this year, 4 for 10. And the Mets hoping for some insurance here in the bottom of the 8th before handing it off to Frank Francisco for the night.
4 for 10 with 5 RBI. Well, we got a little side armor here.
Every team needs one.
Side armors love to throw away. Can't cover the whole plate on these Laredo guys, the guys that drop down. You got to pick a half of the plate, and predominantly they're going to go away, and hopefully you get one out there and you just get a little base hit to left field. Simple as that.
Sounds simple. And that one front doors as Ike was bailing out. 1-1. What do you do if he does that?
The curve? Well, if he's throwing you the curve, it could be problematic, but it's going to go. It's supposed to go on the outside part of the plate. The question is, it's hard to lay off the bad one. That's outside ball like that. That's a tough pitch to lay off.
It's been a funny season for Ike. There have been periods of time when he would have been swinging at those 2 pitches off the plate. But right now he's in a little better place, able to lay off the breaking balls out of the strike zone, drawing more walks as a result, getting better pitches to hit. It's that one foul, and it's 2-2. Ike leading the Mets with 22 home runs, and he has 7 of them against left-handers this year. Hairston at first and 1 out. And Davis tries to lay off that breaking ball and does.
Good eye.
Brian O'Nora with the call, and it's 3-2. Left-hander Xavier Cedeno, the 5th pitcher of the day for the Astros. So do you put Hairston in motion here?
Yes. Why not? It's not like the pennant's on the line here. Let them make things happen.
Cedeno checks in on him. Well, really, the greatest import of today's game is A, to get R.A. Dickey a win.
Yep.
And B, to stop the Mets' 6-game losing streak, and C, get them out of this rut they're in of scoring 2 runs or less every day. Pennant or no pennant. And Hairston runs, and Davis bloops one, shallow center, and that's going to drop for a hit. Hairston didn't read it well, and he stops at second. Not sure what Scott saw or didn't see, but he was in motion on that pitch and should have been easily on third base.
Well, the fact that the shortstop Green was covering because he was in motion lets this ball drop. Green makes this play, I think, if he is not covering. But Harrison, you can see him running. He didn't know where the ball was, looking for it, finds it, and then when he found it, he still could have gone to third, and he just opted to stay there.
I don't think I just think he didn't read it well, even when he saw it, because that ball was going to fall in all the way. So, first and second and 1 out for Jason Bay, who's 0 for 2 and a walk today. He could call third strike his last time up. So Davis continues to produce as a pinch hitter, not a hard hit ball, but he's now 5 for 11 pinch hitting. Bay takes below the knees for ball 1. Well, we were talking the other day about the lowest batting averages in Mets history. Al Weiss has got that record in 1968. And Bay is certainly a threat to break it by a long shot. And he takes one the other way for a base hit. Hairston being waved around third. Francisco unleashes the throw to the plate on a hop, not in time. Jason Bay has an RBI single, and lo and behold, the Mets have 3 runs today. First time in more than a week. And they've got some insurance for R.A. Dickey.
Well, nice for Jason Bay. And nice for the Mets. went the other way in this fastball. And add on. Score some more.
Before that hit, Jason Bay had been 3 for 41 this year with runners in scoring position. But he chases Hairston home, his 14th run batted into the year.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen someone round in third.
I think Tuffle was beginning to feel unloved. Breaking ball sails over Toley's head. Bay just snapped an 0 for 14 skid. Toley right now is in an 0 for 20. Trying to get rid of that. So 3 hits have plated a run here in the 8th. The run charged to Fernando Rodriguez. And Toley chasing that bad breaking ball. 1-1. Pitcher spot due up next. Daniel Murphy is out on deck to pinch hit. Let's only have one right-handed bat on the bench today, and that's the backup catcher, Kelly Shopping. So the Mets have given Frank Francisco some breathing room for the 9th, as he'll be trying to protect the lead for R.A. Dickey. And Toley takes that sidearm fastball for a strike, 1-2. Davis at second, Bay at first with 1 out. Mets now have 8 hits in the game. Feels like a million. One-two from Cedeno, and the breaking ball hit out to left center, shallow. Martinez in to grab it, and that's the 2nd out. So Toley's 0 for stretches to 21. 2 out and 2 on, and now Daniel Murphy will come up to pinch hit. Murphy given a couple of days off. As Terry Collins said, he was out of gas. So making his first appearance in this series. Just 3 hits in his last 38 at bats. Murph should be back in the lineup tomorrow. Mets are facing Lucas Harrell, the rookie right-hander, who's had a nice year for the Astros. Two on and 2 out for Murphy, and he takes the breaking ball for ball 1. Murph 3 for 11 as a pinch hitter this year, but there you see his recent numbers. So it's been a struggle for Murph as his average has dipped to 286. That curveball found the plate, 1-1. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, the Astros will have 3, 4, and 5 in their order coming up. That's Brett Wallace, Scott Moore, and Tyler Green. 2 left-hand hitters and a right-hand batter. Andres Torres on deck for New York. And Murphy takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-2. Mets have gone 7 straight games before seeing a 3 on the board in their run total. And Murphy down on strikes to end the inning. But the Mets bunch 3 hits to plate a run. Jason Bay drives home an insurance run. 3-1 New York going to the 9th.
In for big savings during Toyota's nationwide clearance event going on now. By high yield free checking from Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet? By Volvo Scandinavian luxury designed around you. By the new New York State. The new New York State works for business. By Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Visit your Tri-State Ford dealer today. And by Verizon, introducing Verizon Fios Quantum Speed Internet twice as fast as anything America has ever seen. Changes for the Mets. Ike Davis, who pinch hits, stays in the game at first. Justin Turner slides from first to second. And Frank Francisco bids for his 21st save of the year.
And trying to save R.A. Dickey's 16th win of the season.
3, 4, and 5 in the Houston batting order. Brett Wallace leads off against Francisco. And he gets that splitter in for a strike. Francisco faced 3 batters last night, struck out 2 and walked 1, trying to get back in a groove after what has been a very difficult stretch for him. Wallace has gone 0 for 3 today, lined out to left his last time up. John Roush and Josh Edgen combined for a 1-2-3-8 behind Dickey, who went the first 7 today. And there's a split that misses 1-1. Dickey went 7, allowed a run on 5 hits, a walk, only 2 strikeouts for R.A. today. Came out after just 86 pitches. Dropped his ERA to 2.76, continuing his outstanding year. 2 balls and a strike to Wallace. Let's see, the Mets have 35 more games to go after today, so you figure 7 more starts for Dickey.
Yeah.
If he gets to 16 wins today.
Give him every opportunity to win 20.
Popped up, shallow center. Tejada out to call and catch, 1 away. So Wallace retired. 1 out and nobody on in the top of the 9th, and now Scott Moore. Moore has scored the only Houston run today. He was hit by a pitch in the 7th. Came home on a wild pitch by Dickey. The only run that R.A. allowed. Dickey was helped out by 2 double plays. A bases loaded double play to end the 5th. That was probably the biggest for Dickey today, as Cedeno made an extraordinary turn with Bogusevich taking him out at second base. And then with 2 on in the 7th, Dickey got another double play turn. Coming up after this game is over on Pix 11, it's American Dad over on SNY WB Mason post game live. Francisco 2 outs away from the post game.
Oh, good one.
And gets that splitter over for a strike.
Looking for his 21st save.
It's funny, Francisco's save numbers are pretty good, 20 of 23, and yet his overall numbers are not good at all. Swing and a miss at the fastball, and it's 1-2 to Moore. His ERA for the year at 6.23. His walks and hits per innings pitched almost 1.8, which is really high. Fouled off by Moore. R.A. Dickey, an interested spectator here in the 9th. Chris Young next to him. Will open the series in Philadelphia Tuesday night. Here's the 1-2 on the inside corner, strike 3 call. Moore is caught looking, 2 men down.
Splitter that didn't split, but was inside corner and froze him.
So the Astros are down to their final out. Tyler Green, the batter. He has the last Houston hit. A bloop to right in the 7th inning. And Green takes upstairs 1-0. Green trying to get on base any way he can to get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th inning. Francisco looking for a clean 9th. And Green fouls it back. A ball and a strike. Jason Castro would be next if Green can keep the game alive.
Fastball strike. And now Francisco's 1 strike away.
Good strike.
Ground ball. David Wright slides to his left. And the toss in time, and the ball game is over. Win number 16 for R.A. Dickey as the Mets snap a 6-game losing streak and get even in the series with the Astros with a 3-1 win.
Well, the Mets scored 3 runs, and that was enough. R.A. right there, the reason why. 1 run through 7 innings, 85 pitches. Good job by the bullpen. Roush 2/3, Edge in the 3rd. Francisco 21st save. So the Mets get 2 solid innings of relief and make that man happy right there. It's been a long time since they've won a ball game.
Well, R.A. Dickey now 16-4 with a 2.76 ERA, with probably 7 starts to go in his season, trying to become the first Mets 20-game winner since Frank Viola in 1990. Game summary brought to you by Jeep. Get a great deal on a legendary Jeep vehicle at the Jeep Summer Clearance Event. Justin Turner with his first home run in more than a year, helping out the Mets' cause as they snap their 6-game losing streak and beat the Astros behind R.A. Dickey 3-1.
So the Mets with their first win in a week.
We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.